There is one question which has been bothering me ever since Citizencon. What size of weapons on ships will be able to damage or penetrate capital class ships' shields, or even their armor? As they stated, that smaller weapons should have no effect on those shields. The most clear and obvious answer we have right now is size 7 weapons, which the RS Ion and Inferno have. The heavy gunship Perseus is also being created for this task. And everything I bring out from this point onward is clearly a speculation and up for debate. So the first question first, could there be others? We can also take an example from the newer released capital class corvette the Polaris, which has a turret with 2 fixed bespoke size 6 weapons. It is clear that the weapons on Polaris should be able to have an effect on other capital class ships. This does not mean every weapon or turret can hurt or penetrate the shields. Definitely not any defense point cannons. From the base assumption, we could make a guess that the additional 2 turrets on the Polaris with dual size 4 weapons should have some effect on capital class shields. Well, this might not be the case, as there are some light fighters which have size 4 weapons, and they have made it clear that light fighters or even some medium should not be able to affect the shields of capital class ships. Fine, this may not be the golden rule, but with the current available information, we could exclude every weapon up to size 4. And from the other direction, size 7 and even 6 weapons should be the main tools for such a job, hurting and breaking the shields of extremely large ships. We do know little about the armors as well, which on big ships cover up the shield dispensers or shield displaying modules. There are several of these, and breaking them will reduce the shield efficiency, or destroying them all for the single side will make sure no shield can be active for that area. We do know that the goal is to break the shields so everyone can focus on the armor, break the components inside, and this would make it seem that the armor will take damage from all types of weapons. Here it becomes a bit complex topic, as one of the ideas around the armor was ineffectiveness of small size weapons fire, once again. And this raises a question. Could properly armored ships be able to negate the damage from, let's say, size 1 or 2 weapons, while large shields can negate damage from even stronger weapons like size 4, thus setting 2 parameters? There have been a lot of questions about the armor and its workings. There have also been bits and pieces of information regarding how they want to make it. And the contradictory part here is how they explain capital class ship shields blocking out most if not all small arms fire, small weapons fire, and once the shields are down, everyone can focus fire on the armor to try and break inside to destroy the module. And the example they brought was regarding small ships. Big ships with big guns will break the shields, and then every small ship can focus fire to try and break everything that is beneath it. I'm not going to speculate more about the armor, as this topic seems unclear with many bits and pieces of information they have shared with us and which don't exactly line up at the moment. I do want to add the latest ships which have been seen or have been announced, specifically the Anvil Paladin and Mirai Guardian. These 2 ship lines have size 5 weapons on them, Guardian being a heavy fighter with second biggest weapons on them from the heavies, while Paladin being a gunship which has equally focused on a turret with 4 size 5s. They are clearly meant to focus larger ships. This does not mean capital class ships, but this does give size 5s a bit more use, and since they aren't that common on most ships, it kinda would make sense to make these weapons efficient against larger ships. As most of the time, with size 5 weapons, they would be efficient against large or even sub capital class ships, so why not even capital class? It does leave few things for imagination, at least for the time being. For example, this would probably create higher and lower combat brackets. Everything below capital class or sub capital class ship would fall into the lower bracket, where light fighters to large ships can fight and damage each other, while in the higher bracket only certain ships from below sub capital class can be efficient against them. I do hope by following the newest additions to ships, their weapons and concepts, it seems likely that the effective damage against capital class shields will start from size 5 weapons, maybe even size 4 depending how they plan to go with it. And since most small ships won't have size 5 weapons, this would make it ideal. I also want to note that at the moment we have 3 heavy fighter series which have size 5 or bigger weapons on them. All of them seem like a plausible ship to use against larger ship encounters. I think this would make the most sense. If you disagree, sure, I would like to hear your thoughts, so comment below. Other than that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.